Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Blake the Book Eater here, and today I'm going to talk to you about all the books that I plan to read in May. Okay, so this is quite a packed TBR. Again, like last month, you know, I scheduled myself for a lot of things, so I wasn't able to have kind of an on the radar type thing. And for May, it's kind of the same. I am absolutely booked with stuff I have to read. So hopefully I'll be able to go back to just kind of like a general what's on my radar TBR for June. But as of right now, here are the books that I do plan on picking up in May. So the first is actually some remnants from my April TBR, and that is the first trilogy in the Edge Chronicles by Paul Stewart and Chris Riddle. This I am reading to catch up with Gavin from How to Train Your Gavin, because we are buddy reading the Twig trilogy this month. And so this month is packed, and so I really hope that I'm going to be able to get to buddy read these with him. And these are middle grade, so hopefully they will be fast, quick reads for me, so I won't have to, you know, slog my way through them, because they are quite hefty for like middle grade books, but you know, hopefully I can just breeze through them. I'm hoping to just kind of like bust these out in like a really long weekend or something, because I'm graduating, God, like next week. And that's terrifying and exciting. And I will have a little bit more time to myself, so hopefully I can use that to catch up on a lot of reading. So yes, the Edge Chronicles are on the slate for this month. Also, just kind of on the slate is what I'm reading here and there, and that is Before They Are Hanged by Joe Abercrombie. I'm listening to this currently, like I was listening to The Blade Itself, which is the first book in the First Law and the First Law trilogy. And I take a long time to read audiobooks. Like it's kind of funny how long it takes me. So this is something that I'm just going to, like when I'm driving places, I'm gonna throw on the audiobook. So yeah, I don't plan on finishing this in May unless I do a lot of driving or something like that. It'll probably be finished in June, but this is like I'm currently reading it, so keep that in mind. Now, the big thing for this month is I'm participating in Cindy's Asian Readathon. If you guys don't know, with Cindy, who are you? You're on BookTube, you know who Cindy is. She's amazing, she's lovely, and she's put together this Asian Readathon, which, you know, it happens every year, and this is the first year that I'm participating in it, so very excited. So the main 5 prompts of the readathon are that you need to read a book by an Asian author. It's kind of a gimme. You need to read a book with an Asian protagonist, also kind of a gimme. You need to read a book from your favorite genre, and then read a non-fiction book, and then a non-US centric book. And for her little twist that she kind of added is that you have to pick an author of a different ethnicity, or character of a different ethnicity, like the main character, for every one of these prompts. So you can't have like 2 Japanese books or 2 Korean books. Like you need to have like a Japanese, Korean, etc., etc. And so hopefully that will increase your reading diversity and just kind of widen your scope if you are participating in this readathon. And she put together this amazing like challenge page on Storygraph, and so you can go and add books to prompts there. There are like a ton of books that she's added and other people have added to contribute to this kind of like database of like Asian authors and Asian books to be read this year. So I'm going to share with you the 5 that I plan to read, and then also some more that I might sneak in, and then also just some other like Asian books that might fit these prompts that I own / are on my TBR to share with you guys. So if you want to add them to your list, you can do so as well. Okay, so the first book that I'm going to read this month is actually the Vintage Books and Wine pick of the month, which will be hosted on my channel on the last Wednesday, and that is The Wolf of Oroñaro by K.S. Filoso. Now, I am so excited to read this. I've heard nothing but good things about this book. It's the first in a trilogy, the Chronicles of the Bitch Queen, and I'll actually be interviewing reviewing KS Veloso kind of like near the end of the month / early June. And so because of that, I plan on picking up the entire trilogy because the third book comes out like next week. So I'm just going to binge this entire trilogy. So I kind of know the best questions to ask Kay. And yeah, so the live show for this will be on the last Wednesday of the month on my channel, and so Matthew, Ace, and Tiana will be joining me for conversation about that. You can join our Vintage Books and Wine Discord server down below if you want to stay updated with the community and etc. I don't know. So yeah, very, very excited to read this one. And so for this, it fits the reading a book from my favorite genre, which is fantasy. I don't know, because like my two favorite genres are like fantasy and horror, so I'm gonna slot this in for the fantasy one. Now for nonfiction, I didn't know what I was going to choose because I normally do not read nonfiction. It's not something that like really draws me. I don't know, like I'll sometimes pick up a nonfiction if I hear it's really good or it's a subject matter that really interests me, but a lot of the times I just skew towards fiction because that's what I love. But last month I read When Everyone's an Alien When You're an Alien Too by Johnny Sun, and Johnny Sun just came out with a new book, Goodbye Again, and it's essays, reflections, and illustrations just kind of about stuff. And I just love Johnny's writing style so much. So I'm very excited to pick this up. This is going to be my nonfiction pick for the readathon. And yeah, I'm very, very excited to get to this. I think I'll be able to read this in mostly one sitting. And I just love Johnny's prose so much. So if you haven't picked up When Everyone's an Alien When You're an Alien Too, please go pick that up. It's amazing, it's gorgeous, it made me cry in the best way. But yeah, I'm very excited to read this book as well. Now for a book with an Asian protagonist, I chose You've Reached Sam, which was sent to me by Dustin Tao, and I'm just so excited to read this book. I know it's going to absolutely destroy me emotionally, and yeah, I'm so excited to read this book, and this cover is absolutely gorgeous. It follows this girl, Julie, and she is going to like, you know, move out with her boyfriend, everything's going great, but then he dies. And then, you know, months later, after he's dead, she just kind of calls his cell phone to listen to his voicemail again, and like he picks up. So yeah, this is gonna play with my emotions, and I'm excited to cry. And for the non-US centric book, I have chosen The Miracles of the Nemaya General Store. This was recommended to me by Jesse from Jesse the Reader, and he says it's amazing and one of his favorite books, so I'm very excited to get into this. This is actually, I believe it's a translated work. So I absolutely love reading translated fiction just because it, I don't know, I love reading translated fiction because it's like, it's almost like I wouldn't have been able to read this otherwise, so like I'm grateful for the translator. It's almost similar to like watching movies that have subtitles, you know, foreign language films and foreign TV shows, which I love watching just because they're so authentic. I'm a very sub over dub person. I don't like dubs. Give me the original. Anyways, so this book just sounds beautiful and amazing, and I'm very excited to get into it. I believe it is also a middle grade, and it's pretty small, so I'm hoping to just like blow through this one really fast. Those books kind of fit the favorite genre, nonfiction and non-US centric ones, as well as Asian protagonist and Asian author. So that's 4 of the 5. But, you know, the other 2 are kind of gimme. So these are the other books I kind of want to read. I don't know which ones I will be picking up and which ones I won't, but here are the other options. So the first one is The Dragon Warrior by Katie Zhao. This is also a middle grade. There's 2 books in the series as of right now. Yeah, it's about this girl in San Francisco, and she kind of has to deal with like demons that are coming into her world, and I think she discovers that she's like the dragon warrior. It sounds fun. It sounds really light. Almost kind of reminds me of this show that I'm watching right now, which I'm loving, and you should go watch too. It's called Kung Fu. It's airing on the CW. And I know what you're thinking. Oh, the CW. It's so good. Like, please give it a chance. It's amazing. It's about this girl who comes home to San Francisco and kind of deals with not like demons and stuff, but kind of like assassins, and she's hunting like it's really good. Go watch Kung Fu. But anyways, so this is like middle grade with magic and fantasy and dragons and demons, and it just like it's been a really long time since I've really read middle grade, so the fact that I have like quite a few middle grades in this month is like really exciting to me, because yeah, I just kind of want to get back to that feeling of like, you know, when I'm young and like there's like, you know, another kid like me dealing with magic. Like, I miss that feeling, so hopefully these books will give me some of those vibes. Another one I might pick up is Wicked Fox by Kat Cho. Now, this book was sent to me by Chanel, so thank you so much, Chanel. And then I went out and got the second book in the duology, so I might pick up this duology at some point. Yeah, this follows a girl who is kind of like a fox spirit, and she has to deal, or she like has to consume boys like spirits to survive, and then it's kind of like a romance slash fantasy slash, I've heard it's really good, so I really want to read it. And another book I just received was Dial A for Aunties by Jessie Q Santanto. And this just sounds so amazing. Basically, this girl accidentally murders her blind date, or not murders, but like accidentally, like her blind date dies, and then so she calls up her aunties, and the body was like accidentally shipped to like this billionaire's wedding, so they're infiltrating the wedding, and her aunties have to like figure out who solved the murder, and it just sounds so awesome. I want to read this so badly. And it is pretty short, and I think I can blow through it, and yeah, this book sounds so delightful, so lovely, and I cannot wait to read this. And the last book that's like a maybe I'll get to it this month, I probably won't, but maybe, is The Atlas 6 by Olivia Blake. This is like a dark academia book. There's like some kind of magic or something. I honestly don't know too much about it. Cosmere Twitter has been raving about this book, and so my timeline is like constantly fan art of these characters and just kind of ranting and raving about how good it is. So like I said, if you want to get me to read a book, just start screaming about how the book made you feel, and that will drive me to pick up the book, even if I don't really know what it's about. So that's what made me really want to read this book, and so I'm going to read it. Now, the actual last book on my TBR is Caliban's War by James S.A. Corey, because the Expanse readathon is happening, where we read one book of the Expanse every month. I'm currently reading Leviathan Wakes hurriedly before the live show this weekend. And yes, I've already read most of the Expanse books, but like I'm just rereading them because they're so good, number one, and number two, I want to have like a fresh take when we talk about them. So I really want to try to fit in Caliban's War this month. We might have to end up pushing the live show to like a month and a half as opposed to a month. We'll see. So it might be mid-June instead of end of May. We'll have to see, but this is like on my TBR. Okay, now I want to share with you guys just kind of more options if you are thinking about participating in the Asian Readathon. So I'm just going to briefly state what prompts they'd fit for. So The Wolf of Oroñaro, I've already talked about. So the author is Filipino, and the main character is Asian, and it is a fantasy book. So it can fit in any one of those slots. The Miracles of Demaya General Store is a Japanese-centered book. So it is a non-US-centric book. It's by a Japanese author, Japanese main characters, and it is a middle grade contemporary. You've Reached Sam is a contemporary YA novel written by Dustin Tao, who is a Vietnamese American author. So it'll fit for those. Goodbye Again by Jai Sun is a nonfiction book by an Asian author. I could not find Johnny Sun's ethnicity anywhere online, so if you do know that, you can comment down below. If not, there is a space on Storygraph where you can slot books for authors whose ethnicities are not confirmed, but they are Asian. The Atlas 6 is a self-published, like dark academia slash fantasy type novel written by Olivia Blake. Again, I could not find Olivia Blake's ethnicity anywhere online. So yeah, it slots in for those. Dial A for Aunties is a mystery thriller written by Jessie Q Sutanto, and she is a Indonesian Chinese author. Wicked Fox is a YA fantasy duology written by Kat Cho, who is a Korean American author. The Dragon Warrior series by Katie Zhao is a middle grade fantasy series written by a Chinese American author and features Chinese American protagonists. To Your Eternity is a fantasy crazy manga by Yoshitoki Oima, and it is a Japanese manga series. It's absolutely phenomenal. I love this series so much, and it currently is airing right now on Crunchyroll as an anime as well, so please go check it out. It's amazing. So if you wanted to add some manga, To Your Eternity is highly recommend. And if you wanted some more manga, we have Uzumaki and Shiver, both by Junji Ito. These are both horror mangas. Uzumaki is kind of this is one whole story following a town that's haunted by spirals, and then Shiver is a collection of a bunch of different short stories by Junji Ito as well. So, and also thank you to one of my subscribers who sent these books to me. You're very kind. Thank you so much. Then I have Shine by Jessica Jung. Jessica Jung is Korean American, and she was the former lead singer of Girls' Generation, which was a K-pop group. So this follows, this is a contemporary YA romance, and follows this girl who falls in love with a fellow K-pop star. This looks really cool and cute, and will definitely fit for some of those prompts I've mentioned. Then we have Pachinko by Minjin Lee. This is by a Korean author, and this follows a Korean family's 4-generation journey of immigrants as they immigrate to Japan, and kind of follows the tensions and their lives as a whole. I've heard nothing but good things about this book, especially from my good friend Monica, so if you are looking for a more kind of historical fiction novel, this one will fit. Then We Are Not Free by Tracy Chi is by a Japanese American author, and it follows these teens who are sent to the internment camps during that whole period of time when America was not friendly for Japanese Americans. I've heard nothing but good things about this book as well from also Monica. Also, I've heard it is very sad, but good. So if you're looking for kind of more a YA historical fiction, this will fit the bill. Next, I have a YA fantasy duology by Nahoko Usashi, and this is The Beast Player and The Beast Warrior, and these are both by a Japanese author. These are actually both translated fiction as well, so they fit for fantasy slots, translated fiction, and they just look really cool. And then of course we have the Kyoshi novels by F.C. Yi, who is a Chinese American author. This is obviously a fantasy duology set in the world of Avatar: The Last Airbender, and speaking from experience, these books are amazing. And we also have Crying in H Mart by Michelle Zauner, and this is a memoir by a Korean American author. I was fortunate enough to be sent an arc of this. I am going to be working my way through this very soon. And yes, this book seems very nice. I mean, nice as in I want to read it. So then we have Arsenic and Adobo, and this is by Mia P. Manansala, and this book follows a woman who, her ex-boyfriend accidentally drops dead, and so she is going to find out who killed him. This seems like a really good book by a Filipino author with Filipino main characters, and this was my book of the month pick for, I believe, last month. Yeah, I want to read this. Then last but certainly not least, we have the Jade City and Jade War books by Fonda Lee. Now Fonda Lee is also one of the authors who ethnicities I could not confirm, but she is definitely Asian, so this fits for Asian fantasy, and I've heard nothing but amazing things about this series. Okay, so those are all the books that I recommend that you can read or should read for the Asian Readathon hosted in May, which is this month, hosted by Read with Cindy. And please let me know down in the comments if I've made any mistakes, or you believe that I pronounced somebody's name wrong, or if you think that a book shouldn't be on this list. Please let me know. I am open to criticism, and you know, because I'm not perfect. I just wanted to share as many books with you as I thought would fit the bill, and hopefully you saw some that looked interesting that you also want to read for the Asian Readathon, because I hope that you are joining us for this awesome little event. So I think that's it. So hopefully, you know, pray for me that I can get through all of the books on my TBR / maybe fit in some extra ones from the readathon. Who knows? I just know that I'm going to be drowning in like thousands and thousands of pages next month, so yay! Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching as always, and subscribe if you would like to see more of my content, and I will catch you next time. Bye.